Welcome back to Nerding Out. On today's Marvel Monday episode, we are once again going to deep dive into the minds of your favorite Marvel characters. You'll want to stick around for this one. It's a bit of a doozy. In each psychological breakdown episode, we unpack what makes these complex heroes, anti-heroes, and villains tick. We will explore their story arc and key moments that shape them, their personality type, and why it fits so perfectly, the traumas, wounds, and experiences that drive their behavior. Today, we are breaking down one of Marvel's darkest anti-heroes, Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, a man who has lost everything. His family gunned down in front of him, and turned that grief into a one-man war on crime. But is he a grieving soldier with PTSD? Or is there something deeper in his personality driving that relentless, unforgiving crusade? But before we dive deeper into that, let's ground this in Frank's backstory, because understanding where he came from is key to why his mind works the way that it does. A little history on Frank Castle. He was born Francis Castiglione in Queens, New York, to Sicilian immigrant parents. As a young man, he actually dreamed of becoming a priest. He entered seminary school drawn to faith and forgiveness. But the more he saw the world, its cruelty, its evil, he realized that forgiveness without consequences felt empty. In this view, true justice required punishment first. So he left the seminary and enlisted in the U.S. Marines. Frank became a highly decorated soldier, serving multiple tours, primarily in the Vietnam War in the comics, though some modern retcons have shifted that to the fictional conflicts like the Saigon War, just to kind of keep him ageless. He was a prodigy, expert in weapons, tactics, reconnaissance, and close-quarter combat. During one tour, he faced off against an enemy sniper nicknamed the Monkey, who wore a monkey skull medallion and kissed it for luck before killing. To taunt and bait the sniper, Frank painted skull symbols on fallen enemy bodies. After taking him out, Frank claimed the motif for himself, painting a white skull on his gear as a psychological edge. He racked up serious honors, multiple Purple Hearts. The guy's basically a tank, surviving wounds that would drop anyone else. Silver Stars, Bronze Stars, and more for valor. After his tours, he came home a changed man, focusing on the family that he loved, his wife Maria, his daughter Lisa, and his son Frank Jr. Tragedy struck during what should have been a celebration. Frank was set to receive a high honor of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, so he took his family for a picnic in Central Park. They accidentally witnessed a mafia execution, a deal gone wrong. To eliminate witnesses, the mobsters opened fire, killing Maria, Lisa, and Frank Jr. right in front of him. Frank survived, barely clinging to life through sheer will. The system failed him. Corrupt cops, no real justice. Enraged, grieving, and hardened by years of war, Frank turned to the only path he knew. He donned that skull symbol, now on a bulletproof vest, and became the Punisher. His mission? Punish those responsible and anyone else that he deemed guilty. No mercy, no redemption, just justice through punishment. This isn't just backstory. It is the psychological foundation. The seminary boy who believed in forgiveness learned the world didn't work that way. War taught him violence as a tool. Loss turned into an unbreakable code. So what kind of man does that make Frank Castle? First up, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or the MBTI. If we look at Frank Castle across comics and the Netflix series, the personality community overwhelmingly points to ISTJ, which is introverted, sensing or observant, thinking, and judging. Sometimes called the logician or the inspector. Some fans argue that MCU Frank leans more towards the ISTP for his tactical improvisation and lone operator adaptability. But the broader comic consensus lends to ISTJ for his rigid structure and duty-driven mindset. So let's break it down. Introverted? Absolutely. Frank operates alone. He does not seek out teams, spotlight, or validation. He is a lone wolf by choice, haunted by his past and focused inward on his mission. Observant or sensing? Check. He relies heavily on concrete details from his military experience. Past battles, tactics that worked, sensory memories of his family, all of that. His world is grounded in what he has seen and lived, not abstract ideals. Thinking? No question. This guy is a former Special Ops Marine. He's a master strategist, cold and logical when it comes to eliminating threats. The man is absolutely a tactician at heart. Emotions don't cloud his judgment. He calculates, plans, and executes. Judging. He is literally the judge, jury, and executioner. ISTJs thrive on structure, rules, and closure. They decide on a course of action and follow through. No wavering. ISTJs are dependable, responsible, and deeply committed to duty. They love their hierarchies, like the military ranks and job titles that Frank excelled in. Career paths often lead to law enforcement, military, detectives, jobs where you fight the good fight and make sure that it's done right. Frank fits that mold perfectly. High sense of duty, disciplined, brutally effective, and honest to a fault. He will tell you exactly why you're getting punished. But every type has a shadow side. ISTJs can be stubborn, insensitive, overly judgmental, and prone to burnout because they believe no one else can do it right. Sound familiar? Frank refuses to compromise his code, alienates potential allies, and pushes himself to the edge because the world won't police itself. One rare but fascinating ISTJ trait: they sometimes form unlikely bonds with their opposites, out of mutual respect rather than the shared values. Think Frank and Matt Murdock. Frank does not agree with Matt's no-kill rule, but he respects the conviction. It's that classic line of, I don't agree with you, but I respect your point, even if it's wrong. Their tense alliance shows how ISTJs can value differences when they see real integrity. Now, when I first researched Frank Castle, the word narcissist kept coming up. My initial reaction was no way. This guy is grieving. He's not vain. My uncultured brain said that there's only one type of narcissist. That shows how much I know. Psychology is not that simple. There are different flavors of narcissism, and Frank aligns most closely with malignant narcissism. They seek to dominate others, show little to no remorse, especially towards a deserving target. They exploit people like tools and manipulate when it serves the goal. Frank, he is malignant to the core in several ways, unfortunately. Seeks to dominate? Absolutely. His attitude alone screams control. Criminals don't get a trial. They get punished on his terms. Lacks remorse towards anyone that he deems guilty? Absolutely zero. He executes without hesitation or second thoughts. Exploits others like a parasite. He's not above using people, whether it's manipulating allies like microchip, discarding them when they question him, or leveraging resources for his war. If it advances the mission, he will use you. Manipulation expert. This one is the weakest fit, personally. Frank is direct and blunt. He doesn't charm or scheme subtly like a classic manipulator. He just states facts and acts. But in high-stake moments, he does play people like provoking reactions or setting traps. An important caveat, though. Frank isn't a textbook narcissist. No craving for admiration, no parasitic exploitation for ego, no flat lack of remorse. His drive stems from profound trauma. PTSD, moral injury from war and loss, not innate grandiosity. He feels a deep, haunting remorse for his family to the point that he sees hallucinations for the deceased family. He protects innocence fiercely, such as protecting the little girl in the Garth Ennis run from a Mongolian assassin. He rescues and protects Amy and Karen in the MCU, and he takes no pleasure in killing. He sees it as a necessary evil, much like Daredevil in his philosophy of why he fights to protect the streets of Hell's Kitchen. In some stories, such as the Garth Ennis era, Frank believes he accidentally killed an innocent bystander and spirals into guilt, becoming nearly catatonic, and he deals with the idea that he could have possibly crossed the line he so obsessively upholds. Examples prove that his black and white justice is trauma-warped duty or protection, not pure ego. For example, lowering his gun for a lost child mid-mission, or respecting elders and kids without gain. He absolutely admires Captain America. So, is Frank an ISTJ vigilante fueled by duty, or a grieving man with malignant narcissistic traits amplified by his loss? It's probably a mix. Trauma twisted his natural strengths into something darker. He's not evil in the cartoonish sense, but a cautionary tale. Unchecked pain and rigid duty can turn a protector into a punisher. Yet glimpses of compassion remind us the man underneath still exists. Frank Castle, the man who just wants his family, is still down in the depths of his self. He's just buried under all of that hurt and trauma. But what do you think? Do you think he's ISTJ or ISTP, malignant traits, or just broken justice? Drop your takes in the comments below, hit like if this breakdown hits hard, and subscribe for more deep dives into comic psych. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe out there.